line coaching, where I'm a published author of a book called About That Life Leadership Lessons for the Urban Professional. I've also worked with nationally teaching people how to educate themselves and others about civil rights and racial justice for over 15 years. I'm also a certified coach. Some people say life coach or executive coach, and I focus on human potential and performance. I also work as a diversity and equity and inclusion consultant. I've been in human resources for over 22 years, and I've done everything from hire, train, coach, and develop individuals and with companies. So I enjoy doing that. I'm also a Black man in America, and I bring real world and real lived experiences to the table, right? And so I love to tell people that I'm a seeker of knowledge and a student of life. So I love reading books. I love learning about different faiths, and I love learning about just how the world whirls each and every day, right? And then finally, I'm full of Rahshibisms. So everyone says, "What is a Rahshibism?" And I usually say a Rahshibism is something that you think you listen to what I said and you say, "Hmm," or it's one of those phrases that you can repeat or tweet or make a meme out of it. That's a Rahshibism. Um, with that said, here's some pictures of me getting around the world at Buckingham Palace with the book that I published. And I love showing these pictures because I, just like you, I'm a work in progress, right? I don't have life figured out. I'm still working on adulting, right? And so, because I've done my own work on my own self development and leadership development, I've practiced what I've preached. And there are times that my life has expanded and it continues to expand. And so that's why I showed these pictures, just because that's, there were times where I didn't think I was good enough or I wasn't worthy to do something like running a 5K marathon or officiating a wedding, but I've done that. So I continue to, as my life is continuing to expand, I learned a powerful lesson, and I'll tell you about that lesson in just a moment. So here's some people I've worked with in the past. Of course, DSU is up there. Glad to be back. But some other people, whether I've worked with the company, with teams on their company, their employee resource groups, or I've coached individuals in their company. These are the people I get to work with, and that's continuing to expand. But here's the powerful life lesson that I learned. The powerful lesson that I learned for myself and that I share with others, and the reason why my life keeps expanding, is because we're always only one conversation away from our best life. We're always one belief away from our best life, and we're one choice away from our best life, and one action away from our best life. The life we want doesn't automatically happen. We must be intentional to gain maximum value and out of anything that we do. So it would be so easy if we could just wake up and say, best life, I want my best life. But it comes through our conversations, it comes through our beliefs, it comes through our choices, and it comes through our actions. So thank you. Now that you know a little bit about me, I see the RSVPs coming in. I want to get to know who's in the chat today. So I know some of you have your cameras on, some of you don't, but that's okay. So I wanted to take a moment to jump in and do a quick activity. So I'd like to get to know you, and if you could place in the chat and introduce yourselves by maybe your name and your area of study, or your major. And then here's a question. One thing that you learned about yourself since the pandemic started, because we're still in a pandemic, yes, since March 2020. And so one thing you learned about yourself, I tend to lean more towards the gratitude, but however you answer that is up to you. And then maybe one new goal that you want to achieve, as 2020 is upon us. So I'm going to take a look at the chat. Hi, Nyla. Criminal justice. Anything that you learned about yourself during the pandemic, or one goal you want to achieve? And I know I said Nala. Yes.
Yeah, it's Nala. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
One thing I learned about myself is that I depend on people a little too much. So like I've been teaching myself to that I need to be strong for myself before like I expect other people to be there for me. So that's one thing I learned during the pandemic.
Okay. And is there a goal that you want to achieve?
Just improving my mental health. That's like my biggest goal right now.
Nala, thank you for being first and jumping right in. I see Dallas said, Dallas Spicer Ramirez, I'm a sports management freshman and I learned to work better with a busy schedule. Hi, Zuri, um, learn prevent major and I learned to work. Let's see, where did it say? I learned to work that I work best when I have a full schedule that allows me to stay focused and on the topic and not just let my thoughts float off while I'm doing something. That's honest. Hi, Sierra. Let's see, a sophomore studying pre-veterinary medicine. I learned how much I depend on social interaction. You're in the right place today. And then let's see, Naisha said, nursing, and I enjoy online class, independent learning. I want to work better ways with cope with anxiety. And let's see, Aaron, I'm a jump forensic biology. Wow. One thing I learned about myself is that my peace and alone time with myself is important. One goal is to achieve focusing on my mental, physical, and emotional. Thank you, health. And Danara said, business management major. Since the pandemic, I depend on a lot of technology. So my goal right now is to be more in the real world and not so much in technology. Remember there was a Facebook outage 2 weeks ago and we all flipped out. No WhatsApp, no Instagram. And guess what? A good old fashioned book. That's what my mom used to say. I used to say, Mom, I'm bored. She used to say, go read a book. This is before the internet. So let's see. Ricchetti said, biological science, learn to be independent and do things for myself. And my goal is to get into medical school. All right. Skylar, I'm a mid-level education freshman, and I learned to appreciate socializing with people and not take it for advantage. Okay, I see some people. Did anyone want to come off mute and say their name? I'll just take about 2 or 3 shares, but tell me who they are and with the questions that are up on the screen. Taylor has his hand. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure,
Whoever's.
yes. So my name's Taylor. I'm a pre-vet major. Throughout the pandemic, I learned that I should spend more time doing things that feed my spirit. And a new goal I want to achieve is to practice mindfulness and spiritual growth.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. Who else? Who else? Go ahead and unmute yourself. And thank you all for being so active in the chat. I appreciate that. That's how we'll get maximum value. But anyone else want to share, take themselves off mute and share what who they are, their major area of study, and something they learned about themselves during the pandemic, and one new goal they want to achieve. Sanaya, go ahead. I thought I saw that hand. As they say in churches, do I see another hand? Gibrani, go ahead.
It's Javerne, but that's
Jabber,
fine.
thank you.
I'm an information technology major. One thing I learned about myself since the pandemic started is that I function a lot better in my classes if I actually like enjoy what I'm doing. As far as goals, I'm in the process of really taking a step back and looking at my major and figuring out like if I really enjoy it and like sticking to the aspects that I actually enjoy and taking that and pursuing trying to get started and pursuing my master's degree. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Jaberne. And Chike, I mean, Sanaya, I see you. Thank you. Your mic wasn't working. And Chike, I see everyone who put their information in the chat. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Well, let's keep rolling right along because I know time is valuable. And let's see. So, um, thank you. So during our time together, I want you to pay it. This is what we're going to be talking about. So the purpose of today's session is relationships, and the focus is you. So here comes a question. Here, another question. When you hear the word relationships, what comes to mind? You can answer in the chat or you can take yourself off mute. When you hear the word relationships, what comes to mind? When you hear the word relationship, what comes to mind? So, absolutely, someone that a close interaction with, trust, respect, a connection with another individual. Absolutely. I think of family and friends, intimacy, Kamara. I like that Nala said a bond, a connection with people. Well, some of you all are already saying it, but I'll go to with my next question. Who are some of the people you are in relationship with? You can either take yourself off mute or put that in the chat. Who are some of the people you're in relationship with? Peers, yes, Nala, thank you. Ourselves, yes, Renee, family, friends, coworkers. Yourself, Aaron, Ariana said, family, friends, previous schools, family. You all got it, yes. Here's what I've learned also. Another thing that I've learned is that we as human beings occur in relationship to each other. The you that exists in your head is the only version. Other people experience you based on your emotional intelligence, and their version may be different. I'll say that again. We as human beings occur in relationship to each other. The you that exists in your head is the only version. Other people experience you based on your emotional intelligence, and their version of you may be different. So Sydney just put significant other. Absolutely. That their version of you may be different from your version of you. So with that said, this is how we'll spend our time together. We're going to discuss emotional intelligence, strategies to improve emotional intelligence. We're going to do an audit. I know when people hear that word audit, they go, ooh. And so I'll tell you more about that as we go through. And of course, when I end anything, I like to celebrate. And so we'll talk about that. So let's get started. And remember, we talked about getting maximum value. Throughout our time this afternoon, I want you to think about just you have you ever gone somewhere and walked in the door and said, geez, this is lame or this is whack. And guess what? You had a lame or a whack time. Or even the other way around. You said, I'm going to have fun no matter what. And guess what? You did. So you can already decide how this hour is going to be. And that's what I ask you to do, is to begin with the end in mind. So when you hear the word emotional, what does that word mean to you? You can take yourself off mute or place it in the chat. What does emotional mean to you? What does emotional? Open, Jabernay said, expressing feelings. Absolutely. How your feelings affect you, India said. An abundance of a certain emotion. Yes, Shavara said, not hiding your feelings. Emotional. When you hear that word, what do you think of? Internal feelings that symbolize one's actions. Okay, y'all are deep. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Well, what about if I asked you, what does intelligence mean? Aaron said how you feel, react to situations. The ability to grow and learn, knowledge of something, quick-witted. Chikizi said, yeah. Here's another question. When we talked about what did emotional mean, what are some emotions that we have as human beings? What are some emotions that we have? jealousy, guilt, anger, absolutely, empathy, happiness, sad, joy, yes, love, yes. All of those things from one end to the other, absolutely. So then here's the question. Why put these two words together? Why do you think we would put, why do the world puts emotional intelligence together? Why would we put those two words together? You can either take yourself off mute or answer in the chat. Why put those two words together?
I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about maybe signifying like someone's awareness of how they're feeling, of like how they're expressing themselves.
Perfect. You drop the mic. Awareness of their feelings and how they're expressing themselves. Dallas said being willing to change your emotions like you can change your mind. And Kamaya said to know how to properly interpret or express emotions. It's important to understand the emotional perspectives of others, Sanaya said. And Renee said so we can understand and manage our emotions. Spot on, y'all. So let's take a look at that. So emotional intelligence, also known as emotional quotient, was introduced to the world in a book by psychologist Dr. Daniel Goleman in 1995. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, to use, and to manage your emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, and overcome challenges and diffuse conflict. Emotional intelligence helps you build stronger relationships. It supports you succeeding at school and in the workforce, and achieving your career and personal goals. Emotional intelligence can also help you connect to your feelings and turn any intention or motivation or passion you have into action so you can make informed and clear decisions about what matters to you most. Again, you see those keywords: empathy, ability to work with others. It supports your mental health and also supports your physical health. When you get clear on what's going on in your body or how you're responding to things, like some of us, I nervous eat. So there was a time I used to eat chocolates because I have chocolates near me. And when I got nervous or when I got agitated, I would start eating chocolates. And then at one point that was not good for me. So I still nervous eat, but I replaced the chocolates with carrots. And so not as sweet, but I get the bite and the jitter that I need to express at that moment. I still do it, but I choose the healthier option. So um, in Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence model, there are four primary elements of emotional intelligence. First, there's self-awareness. You become aware of yourself and your thoughts and your feelings. Know thyself first, or to thine own self be true, as they say. Once you have a better understanding of yourself, you can manage your behaviors, your choices, and your actions. At the beginning of this session, I said the purpose of this workshop was relationships, and the focus is you. So if we're talking about relationships, why would it be important to know yourself first and what your emotions are? If we're talking about relationships, why would it be important to know yourself first? You can place that in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute. If you start with yourself, self-awareness and self-management, why would that be important if we're talking about relationships? 事情这是哪里? You can go ahead and place that in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute. Why would it be important to to self, let's see, so we can understand and change our perspectives. Oh, go ahead. Whoever has their hand raised, go ahead. Take yourself off mute.
Hi. I think it's important because for to be in a, like you said, in a stable relationship with the other people, you need to know that you understand yourself, your boundaries. Um, what do you want in the relationship? What do you expect in relationships, such as respect, trust, and honesty? So, and whenever it happens, you need to whatever happens, what your feelings are and what can you um I want to say what can you take, like like what are your limits are, like your boundaries, your limits.
That, and tell me your name.
Sanaya, I finally
San-
got my I finally got my mic working.
Yay, Sanaya. Thanks so much. Sanaya, you hit it. Absolutely. And so let me ask you this, Sanaya. What are some of those we talked about in relationship, and you saw maybe the chat on what type of relationships do we have out there?
Families, friends, romantic relationships. Someone says spiritual relationships, which is with God. Um, think relationships with their pets.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Teacher, student, work, boss, manager, or boss employee. You have all kinds of friend, cousin. You have all kind of relationships you're managing, and you hit the nail on the head. You talked about just your boundaries, so you got to know what matters to you. And then Deanna, so thank you, Sanaya, for that. Deanna put in the chat, you have to understand your own self before handling other people's emotions and behaviors. Right, because that's a whole nother ball of wax. I got to deal with me. So you all hit it right on the head. Um, so you can know how to get along with others. And that brings us to the second part of the emotional intelligence model, being able to being socially aware, um, and have empathy towards others. You put yourself in their shoes. And when you do that, then you can manage and participate in the relationship or the friendship. Understanding self increases your personal power. And when you do that, your social capital or your social power increases. If everyone track it with me, give me a reaction, give me a hand clap or a heart or something like that, or a thumbs up if you're tracking with me, that you're increasing your power. When you're self-aware, you can then self-regulate and then work with others. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for those reactions. Thank you, Shonda. I see that thumbs up. Thank you. Sanaya, your hand's still up. Did you want to say something else?
Oh no, that was on accident.
Okay. Eliana, I appreciate that thumbs up. Thank you. You're tracking with me. All right. Um, so so basically, you go from having a disconnected head and heart to having your head and heart connected. That's emotional intelligence. So not only when you're responding to a situation, so you probably all worked with people. I've worked with people that they were very good at what they did. They just really didn't understand how it impacted other people. It was like a bulldozer. They said, we need to get this done. And I'm like, okay, but you realize we're human beings, not human doings. Right. And so, but then there have been times where other people have come along. I've worked with people and they really got it. They understood that, hey, you know, how your working styles, maybe a time in the office where you need to take a break, or other times where, they give you acknowledgement for the things that you've done, or they've given you space to talk about what's important to you. That's when the head and the heart are connected. So here are some additional benefits of emotional intelligence. People with low EQ or emotional quotient sometimes often feel misunderstood. They can get upset easily, and they can become overwhelmed with emotions. In my teenage years or young adult years, we would say they would spaz out or black out. Um, Sometimes they just get overwhelmed and then they can't talk to anybody. And these aren't right or wrong. These are just sometimes some things that happen to some people, and they don't happen to everyone all the time. And some people with high EQ understand the connection between their emotions and how they behave. So once I got that I was nervous eating, or I was eating when I got upset, then I changed. I still do that because I need the crunch, but I changed the chocolate to the carrot. And then I can remain calm and composed during stressful situations. There are times, y'all, that I've dealt with highly stressful situations. And guess what? I was cool as a cucumber, or cool, calm, and collected, as they say, because I realized that it had nothing to do with me. It was them reacting or getting upset, and I was listening. And then we're able to influence others toward a common goal. Leadership is part of high emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. You get how you impact others, and making sure that people feel seen and heard. And sometimes that's in the meetings, creating space for us to just talk about some things before we get down to the action. Like some of us commute during school, or wherever we got to go. And then if it's storming outside, the rain, like, hey, can you ask me how I'm doing today before we jump into it? Those people with high EQ understand how to do that, and that's how they can influence others. Um, who are some people in your life that you would say have high EQ, that they know they are very good at leadership, or they're very good at relationships with other people? Who are people in your life you would say that have a high EQ, or emotional quotient, emotional intelligence quotient? Your nursing instructors. Thanks, Naisha. Ariana said her pastor. Thank you. Who are some people in your life that you know have a high EQ? They have high empathy, connection, influence over others. Your mother, Nala. Moms are good at that, huh? Jabernay said mother and a few of my professors. I have a friend in Washington, D.C., in the DMV area named Champ. We call him Champ. His name's Warren Champ. And Champ has always been where I've been the one that's been like, ah, da, 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 da. And Champ said, hold on, let's talk. Leah said my brother and most of my cousins. Victor said my dad. That's awesome. Now, let's see. Here's some ways to improve your emotional intelligence. Recognize your emotions and name them. For instance, you can answer the question like what are your emotions that you're feeling right now? Can you name them? Sometimes I know we don't know how we feel, but when you spend time naming them, that say, I'm really sad, or I'm excited, or I'm nervous. When something triggers you, you want to stop, pause, and notice the emotion, and then name it. Also, ask for feedback from friends, colleagues, managers, or families, and what they notice about how you respond to situations. Remember, I said that the version of you is the only that you have in your head is the only version that exists. Everyone else experiences you different. And then finally, you can level up and read on the subject, or even read literature with complex characters, like some novels or whatnot, because studies show that reading stories from other people's perspectives helps us gain insight into their thoughts, their motivations, and actions, and it may help us enhance our social awareness. So I'm going to place in the chat box a free online quiz that you can take after today's session about emotional intelligence. And that's just one of the activities that you can do to find out what is your emotional intelligence. No one wakes up and says, what's my emotional intelligence? We go to classes, we take sessions and seminars, and we find out what makes us tick. And then, let's keep rolling. So I have a question for you. I know I've said a lot so far, and I've gone, but I want to know what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a point to make, I'm not saying what I said, but what you hear me saying. And just a but what are you hearing? What's coming up for you? What, as I've talked about relationships and emotional intelligence and social self, personal power versus social power, what are you hearing? What's coming up for you? I'll take a few shares from the room. So raise your hand, or you can place in the chat. What do you hear me saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down, as they say?
Oh my gosh, no.
So what do you hear? What do you hear? What do you hear me saying? Not what I said word for word, but what do you hear?
I would say I hear you to understand other people's emotional perspective and also your emotional perspective in order to move on as a person.
And who said that?
Sanaya.
Okay, Sinai, thank you. I can't see your screen, but thank you so very much. Dallas said, I'm starting to realize how many people in my family have low EQ. Now, Dallas, the only person you can fix is you. Track it with me. And once you increase your own emotional intelligence or you continue to do what they do, you still have the social power, right? That's the interesting thing about life. You're we're the only people we can fix. And Kamaya said, relationships and emotional intelligence begins with yourself, period. What else? What are you all hearing me say? Anybody who hasn't shared or placed anything in the chat, what do you hear me saying? Not what I said, but what do you hear?
I think that I agree with what everyone's been saying so far, and that emotional intelligence is kind of an active process. Like as you live your day to day, you have to constantly like make an effort to remain cognizant of your emotions and your feelings, so that you're prepared for when you have to handle another person's emotions and feelings, and you can like remain empathetic and handle the situations that occur accordingly.
And who said that?
My name is Ariana.
Hi, Ariana. Thank you so very much. And thank you for that. Um, Thank you for that. That was amazing. Let me tell you, not only managing yourself or being aware, but here's the thing. You will not know it until choice point happens. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm going to prepare and I'm going to read this book. But when your friend sent that text to you that you didn't like, that's when emotional intelligence shows up at choice point. Are you tracking with me, everybody? So even like say you were about to get on the train and somebody sat in the seat and you were about to sit in the seat and you wanted to say, no, they didn't, or they picked up the last book in the bookstore or what have you. Sometimes you won't know it until choice point. And that's when you really get to build your emotional intelligence muscle, right? So Tariq, I see you said your score was 62. Well, it just wherever you landed in the areas, that's where you may have areas that you may or may not want to work on. It's all a choice. Let's see. Maya said it's not healthy to be reactive and overly sensitive. Now, here's the thing, what I'm also saying, Maya, also be aware of your emotions, right? Sometimes here's a Rahshibism. You cannot shift anything you're unwilling to be with. So some people, you know how some of our friends won't even acknowledge that they have a situation or a problem? The first step is to acknowledge that, oh, I get angry a lot about this. Or, oh, someone didn't call me back and I get all depressed just because they didn't return my call. So when you realize that you're doing that, then you can then change it and you can also manage it when appropriate. Because guess what? We're human beings, not human doings. So some days we may need to have a bad day, or some days we may need to, if it's weather related, if it's situation related. Sometimes we just say, you know what, I'm gonna take it easy today and self care. And then other days we're out there. So you first want to name what's going on, and then you can manage it. Deanna said it takes time to mature in emotional intelligence. You have to be real with yourself and reflect on what's within. And then Jillian said that there can be more emotional intelligence than just self. It's really a spectrum that measures how your emotional intelligence regarding other people can dictate your well-being, as well as how your own inherent thought can alter your emotional intelligence. Absolutely. Again, Jillian, we occur in relationship to one another. So your intelligence and their intelligence are always interacting. Thank you all for that. Let's see. Again, we occur in relationships. And as human beings, we must do work on ourselves to improve relationships with others. So remember, I said the purpose of this session was relationships and the focus was you. So for our final moments, let's pause to check in with relationships. In a moment, I'll play a piece of music and I'll invite you to write down the following, wherever on your phone, journal, what have you. I'll invite you to write down, who are the people important to you in your life? Who are the people you want to learn more about? And who are the people you need to repair the relationship with? Now, if the relationship is over and done and you don't go back to it, that's not the person I'm talking about. But there's some people in our lives that, there's some stuff we need to clean up. We get to clean up, whether us or them, but we want to still have that conversation. So there are people that are important to you. There are people that you may want to connect more with. And then there's maybe some people you want to repair the relationship with. And so while I play the piece of music, I'm going to, you're going to write those names down. Any questions before we begin? And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing. I think I need to reshare my screen and audio. I'm going to reshare my screen and audio so you can hear the music. All right. So please begin.
You are where I go to hide when the wind starts to blow, when the lightning starts to strike, when the thunder starts to roll, when this life becomes a fight. You are where I put my gloves down when I'm running out of time. You are where I go to slow down. You are my favorite place. You are my sacred space. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Where I go to be moved, where I go to be still. Your love makes me new. In your presence I heal. You are my favorite place. You are my sacred space. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. No walls.
Okay, in a moment, you can bring that to a close and we'll come back to the room. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Here's the invitation. We know that this pandemic has been very tough on many people and many families, and just also what it's done to our communities. So, whoever those names you wrote down on your list, don't wait. Work on your intelligence and work on your relationship management, right? Reach out to those people, even if it's today. Send that text, send that email, because I've learned that it's arrogant to think that we have tomorrow. You know, I know we have big plans and we have things, but tomorrow may not be promised. So that's why if there are people in your life that you want to love on or get to know or even repair, start today. Absolutely start today. So thank you for that. So let's see. Now, we talked about celebrating wins or celebrate. Before I leave you for the remainder of your day, I want you to pause for a moment and brag about everything that you've accomplished so far in 2021. You need to keep yourself motivated, and you got to stop and look at what's worked. And it's okay to be proud of what you've accomplished. So in the chat box, go ahead and brag a bit. What successes have you created? What's going on? I'm bragging that I get to be with DSU today. But what are some successes that you've created in 2021 that you want to brag about? And you can also take yourself off mute if you'd like. All right, Naisha bought her first car, got an internship, Nala. Woo! Got a job, Maya. Woo! Look at that. Go on and brag. Made the dean's list, Leah, and bought a 2021 Kia. You can come scoop me anytime you want. I got gas money. Nelson got a promotion. Congratulations. Sierra earned my first collegiate equestrian point at against UTM. Good for you. Made the president's list, Kyla. Ariel said dean's list, bought a car, Alpha Chi Honor Society. Phenomenal. Congratulations. I would say you all have some high EQ. You're able to manage yourself and then manage some of those relationships. All right. Let's see. So thank you. So let's see. So if you want to stay connected to me, you can always find me here with my QR code. That's me trying to be cool saying pull up, right? And then also Assistant Dean Craig, you know me, I always like feedback. So I'm putting just a Google form that you can give me feedback about today's session and either ways to improve as well. And then let's see, so if you got questions, I got answers. I'll see what I can do. As I say, what you got. But let me say this, and before I pause, I think we discussed today emotional intelligence. We talked about strategies to improve emotional intelligence. We did a relationship audit. That was the audit, y'all. And then we celebrated those wins. And I'm going to drop the mic and say, won't he do it? Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be with DSU all the time and grateful. So I'll stop sharing. Let's see, I'll stop sharing and then open myself up for some questions.
I have to go, but I just wanted to say thank you. I found this very helpful.
And who was that?
Dallas.
You're welcome, Dallas. I appreciate it. I appreciate your contribution. What you got? Any questions? Or
I know somebody has some questions. Or was it just such a great presentation that we're all clear?
Well, I am thankful to the Leadership Academy and Director Poe, Miss Paul Smith, and Assistant Director Craig. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be with amazing people doing amazing things to talk about emotional intelligence. Woohoo!
No, we thank you, Mr. Thomas, for joining us. Emotional intelligence is a very broad and heavy, can be heavy topic. So to be able to join us and to speak to us in 45, 50 minutes about it, just to get our juices flowing and be accepting of understanding what that is amazing. So thank you so much. I love how you present to us. You always ask questions. You get the attendees involved, and so we appreciate that. All of the thank yous are coming in the chat. I'm sure this was super beneficial. For you guys who are in attendance, please make sure that you go ahead and you fill out Mr. Thomas's survey. That's going to help him in going forward. We always like feedback, as you should like feedback as well. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. And if you have not done or clicked the link of the assessment that he shared earlier, scroll back up, click the link, make sure that during your free time, you take that assessment. It is super important for you to be aware of where you stand here. We can only get better if we acknowledge where we are, right? So take that assessment, see where you are. Everyone, emotional intelligence will help you in every space of your life. All right. So thank yous are still coming in. All right. All right. All right. Any questions from anybody in attendance before I pull these names for these gift cards for you awesome attendees today? All right. All right. We're going. So you're still on the line. Can you have the link for the assessment? And Mr.
Yes.
Thomas, if you can post that again for us. All right, thank you. And then also keep in mind, I'm going to send a follow-up survey just for us here with the your Hornet Leadership Academy to know what kind of topics you guys would like to see addressed in our of 2022 sessions. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm drawing two names because you guys were awesome with your attendance today. So my pockets are just getting a little lighter. I think I lost connection. Did I lose connection?
Nope, you're still here.
I'm here. Okay, cool. All right. So, don't hate me because I might butcher your name, but I know you, so you're not going to hate me. Unisa Samuels. All right. I got a gift card for you, Unisa. You got to come and see me. All right. And then the next one is India Rosary. All right. So, Unisa and India, please, 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 I need you to email me or put your emails in the chat for me. All right. So I can connect with you so you can come and get your Chick-fil-A gift cards. You have to come on, if you're on campus, you have to come see me in the library, room 200. If you're not on campus, I'll make sure that I get them in the mail to you. So just a reminder, we have our next leadership development session, The Power of Networking, that will be on November 18th. It is at 11 o'clock. So show up for that one as you showed up for this one. Again, Mr. Thomas, we so appreciate your time, your efforts, all of the thought that you put into your presentation. We here at DSU appreciate you and love you.
And
I'm going to let
same here.
Miss Shonda go ahead and take it away. And bye, guys. I appreciate you. Miss Shonda, Poe.
Again, Mr. Thomas, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate you. I don't know what you do, but these students turn out, I mean, in droves. And I tell you, you just definitely have what it takes to connect with everyone. So we just can't thank you enough. And we hope that you'll be able to return again soon. We hope to be able to meet you in person one day to join and visit with us at the DSU Hornet Nation. And so that we'll be happy to give you a campus tour so you can meet our fantastic scholars. So many blessings to you. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we do not take your time and effort lightly. We truly appreciate you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You're on mute, Danielle.
Yeah, we should be better at that by now, right? But thank you guys. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you showing up. If you want the gift cards, I got you, Unisa. And India, I will get with you as well. So have a great day, guys.
Have a good day, everybody.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. You take care now.